Hello there, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be talking about this, and specifically, yes, the new DJI Mavic 2. Mine finally arrived last week and I've had about a week to play with it. My fly mode kit come a little bit later, so I have been on limited batteries. But I want to give you guys my opinion on this aircraft because there has been a huge amount of noise about this after it was released, and I'm going to give you my buy or no buy and my honest opinion on it because I've been flying it for about a week and a half and I really do like it. However, I want to explain a few things around some of the noise that we've seen. Now, before I get started, if you like what you see in this video, please do subscribe to the channel. There is a link in the bottom corner somewhere down by there, and you can click that and you will get updates in the future. Further to that, there are some links to these products in the description of the video as well. If you'd like to support the channel, please do purchase via these links and it helps us keep making these videos to share with you guys. So, to get started. Okay, so I've been flying the Mavic 2 for a few weeks and overall, I really love it. There are some things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the craft first, and then I'm going to talk about the camera on the Pro one and explain a little bit around that because there's a bit of noise and nonsense on the internet around it, and I have done another video actually talking about this, specifically how the sensor works, but I'm going to explain it again and hopefully give you guys the information that you need. Comparing the Mavic 2 to the original Mavic, is it better? Absolutely yes. Okay, the aircraft is larger than the original Mavic and it means it's got a bigger battery, which is now 4S. That basically means you cannot use these batteries with the batteries on your original Mavic Pro or the Mavic Air. It is a completely new power system. As I said, it is now 4S, so that means it is 4 cells and it is a higher voltage. It's the same voltage as we have on the Phantom 4 Pro, but again, because it uses a unique connector, chargers for all of those models won't work. It is only the models that you can get for the Mavic 2. The propulsion system has been updated and it's got bigger motors, new quiet propellers and things like that. Overall, they have redesigned the aircraft and you've still got the dual object avoidance sensors on the front. However, like the Mavic Air, you've now got the object avoidance sensors on the back too. On the top, you've got an infrared avoidance sensor, which is a signal one, which will pick up things above. And then on each side, you also have an object avoidance sensor too. However, it is a single sensor. That means it's not stereo vision, and it means it doesn't quite work as well as the sensors on the front or the back. And because of this, DJI have limited the modes that the sensors work in. It only works in tripod mode and one or two others, and in normal flight, those sensors are disabled. With regards to side sensors, there will generally always be limitations because it's hard to get the view over the props and things like that, and the only way to do it would be with proper stereo vision, and it would still take a massive amount of processing to be able to do full object avoidance on that. However, in the modes it does work very well, but it doesn't quite work the same as the front and back. It's more of like a switch, it's on and off, so when you get to a point it will just say stop, I'm not going any further. Moving around to the bottom of the aircraft, they have made some changes here as well. We still have the VPS system with the 2 cameras. However, the ultrasonic rangefinders are gone and that's been replaced by an infrared one as well. Something that is new here is the little LEDs, and these are torches, and it's designed to help the aircraft maintain position in low light conditions. So it basically helps the VPS work when it's getting a little bit darker. However, you can turn these on and off in the app, and it means you can do some actually very cool things with it with your drone and a fixed camera and take some images of it like shining over the top of you or something like that. Overall, that's pretty much the changes to the bottom. Looking around the rest of the aircraft, you have a new USB port on the side, which is now USB-C. You then have your SD card slot on one side and your bind button on the other. On the Mavic 2, you will notice that there is no little Wi-Fi switch, and the reason for that is that there is no automatic Wi-Fi control mode in this model. On the original Mavic Pro, you could take your phone, flick the switch into Wi-Fi and then connect to the drone and control it with the on-screen sticks, and I did a video on that last year showing you how that works. They removed that feature in the Mavic 2. It is no longer in there. To add it, it would take additional hardware because the Mavic 2 uses OcuSync, and that means they would have had to have added a Wi-Fi board as well, And the reality is, if I'm honest, I don't think it was a widely used feature, and DJI probably just looked at it and went, you know what, hardly anyone's using it, what's the point? It is still on the Mavic Air if you want that feature, so because that's using enhanced Wi-Fi, you can use it, but it's no longer on the Mavic 2 series. The next thing that isn't there is precision landing, and this was a little bit of a strange one. And if you don't know what precision landing is, as your aircraft takes off, it takes some pictures of the ground, and then in return to home, or when you set it to return automatically, as it's coming down, it stops and it looks to find the exact position it takes off from. And precision landing meant it would land normally within a few inches of the takeoff point. Out the box, the Mavic 2 doesn't have this feature. DJI have said it's coming though, so hopefully with a firmware update in the very near future, you will have that feature as well. Overall, on the aircraft itself, it is very similar. In my opinion, the aircraft is an absolutely solid update. Whilst it might not have all of the exact same features as the original Mavic, it has what you need in abundance, and with the front and rear object avoidance sensors, the top one, the sides, you've got the important stuff covered. Hopefully DJI will bring the precision landing in the near future, but the overall aircraft performance is definitely better on this model. It flies much better, it is much more locked in, and it behaves much better in flight, and it is a lot quieter as well. It really is, especially compared to the Mavic Air. Next, I'm going to talk about the camera on the Pro model. Now, I've not had a Zoom, I've had a Pro, and this is what I've been flying for a week. Now, there has been a bit of noise around the way the sensor works on this model. Obviously, the Mavic 2 Pro uses a 1-inch sensor camera, same size sensor as you have on the Phantom 4 Pro. It uses that to produce 20 megapixel images in stills and up to 4K 30 frames a second video. Now, there has been a few whinges because people noticed a few things and DJI have done it slightly differently. There are two modes that you record in. You've got FOV mode and you have HQ mode. The way they work is different, and in my other video I do describe this in more detail, but the basics are as follows. FOV mode takes a windowed crop of the sensor. What I mean by windowed is that they crop the 3x2 sensor down to 16:9, so they slice it top and bottom, but you still get full width. That is then downscaled via something called subsampling to your 4K resolution. Now, some guys decided to do some pixel peeping and compare this to the Phantom 4 Pro and say, hey, it doesn't look as good. The very basics of this are that if you stare at this at a chart on a wall, the Phantom 4 Pro does have the legs in video over the Mavic 2 Pro, ever so slightly. But if I am completely honest, it is very, very minor. I've been staring at footage on this for the past month, pretty much since it's been out, and there's not a lot in it. Whilst, yes, staring at a chart on a wall, it might have a little less detail and slightly more noise. It's also not quite as sharp. Overall, the footage out of this aircraft is fantastic. However, if you want to get the best possible footage out of it, DJI introduced HQ mode, and HQ mode does things slightly different. Instead of taking that full windowed sensor and then downscaling it to 4K, what they do is take a 4K section of the center of the sensor, because obviously 4K resolution is approximately 8 megapixels. The sensor is 20 megapixels, so instead of squeezing 20 down to 8, they simply take that 8 megapixel section in the middle and what we call a 1-to-1 pixel crop, and then pass that through the image processor and put it on the SD card. Now, because of their doing this, it does provide a better quality image. However, there is a downside to it, and it means you lose field of view, because in FOV mode, you're taking the full width of the sensor in every resolution and then downscaling it. By taking a windowed center section, you're reducing the available image width that is available, and it actually means the field of view changes. So it changes it from a wider field of view to a narrower one, and that's where a lot of the complaints have been. In my opinion, this really isn't an issue for me. If I want the best possible footage in video, I will shove it in HQ mode. However, FOV mode still gives really good footage. As I've said, if you are going to compare it to a Phantom 4 Pro, yes, it might have the legs on it a little bit. However, this is not a Phantom 4 Pro. It is substantially smaller, and the reality is whenever you squeeze technology down into an aircraft of this size, there is generally some compromises that have to be made. You know, the Mavic 2 does not use an umbrella processor, so it's not using the A9, the H1, the H2 or the H3 as was rumoured. It is using something that we don't know what it is currently. However, there is always going to be a compromise. The next thing there was quite a bit of noise about was the D-Log-M mode and the lack of lens correction. The basics are for this that to get the best possible footage, DJI also included the Hasselblad colour profile, and this was called D-Log-M, and it means that you get the widest possible dynamic range out of your footage. However, to use this it has to be in H.265 only, and that means that there is no lens correction. Now, what DJI have said is whilst they're doing D-Log-M and H.265, they can't also apply automatic lens correction. So that means your image might have a slight curve on it if you look at the horizon. However, you can correct this in post, and you can do this really easily. In the DJI manual, they've released some numbers that you put into your NLE program. So if you're using Final Cut Pro or Premiere, you can simply correct it with the values DJI have given, and it will sort it out. The basics are that just like other codecs, ProRes, things like that, they're not always able to apply the lens correction. It's not that in that mode the lens is curved. The lens is curved in every mode. It's just that in D-Log-M they're not able to add the built-in lens correction into the codec before it's recorded to the card, and you have to do it externally. Again, there was a lot of noise about this. DJI have said it's simply down to the hardware limitations and you need to correct it in post. It's not a big issue for me. If you're having to record in D-Log-M, you have to grade that footage anyway, so you may as well lens correct it at the same time. It really is not a big deal in my opinion. Overall, what can I say about this aircraft? Well, this isn't really a review or anything like that. This is purely my ramblings about the opinions on it. I've flown it for over a week, and I've got to say, hands down, it is the best Mavic we've had to date. The aircraft itself, in my opinion, is much better than the original. It flies better, better battery life. The better object avoidance sensors. Yes, it is a little bit bigger. However, overall, it is a very, very good aircraft. The camera on the on the Mavic 2 Pro edition, I absolutely love. In stills, it is fantastic. You're getting brilliant 20 megapixel stills in an aircraft of this size, which is virtually identical to what you're getting in the X4S for the Inspire 2, as well as the Phantom 4 Pro. In video, okay, I will be honest, it doesn't quite have the same quality as the Phantom 4 Pro or the X4X, but it is minor. It is really, really close. You're talking about staring at charts here, and the reality is for 99.9% of people in real world usage, this will produce simply outstanding footage. If FOV mode isn't good enough, shove it in HQ, and the footage is just stunning. It really, really is. There are a few little other things people have complained about. There's a lack of colour profiles on this model. There are more coming in the near future, and it is worth noting that if you compare it to the Phantom 4 Pro, there's no mechanical shutter on the Mavic 2 where there is on the Phantom 4 Pro. So if you're looking at an aircraft to use for mapping purposes, you're better going with the Phantom 4 Pro than the Mavic 2. But for general use with aerial photography for average users, you know what, this thing is absolutely top of its game. It's better than any other aircraft in its class out there. It's as simple as that. Would I buy or not buy? Well, this is my honest opinion. If you are a Mavic user or a Mavic Air user, hands down, buy this today. I think it is a really good step forward. I would be shocked if you were disappointed in this aircraft. I honestly would be. If you're a Phantom 4 Pro user and you're looking to get a smaller aircraft but want the same quality of footage, well, it's going to come down to two things. If you're not willing to compromise for a slight drop in quality, then do not go for this aircraft. However, if you are using it for stills or a minute drop, is not a problem. Hands down, buy it today. You won't be disappointed. You really won't. It was never designed to replace the Phantom 4 Pro, and that's, I think, where a lot of people have got themselves in a twist. They're comparing, you know, apples for grapes and things like that. It is a Mavic. It will always be a Mavic. It's designed to be one of the most portable, best quality drones you can get, and it does that in abundance. It really does. In my opinion, hands down, absolutely worth it. I love it. I absolutely love it to pieces. Flown it for a week. Hands down, one of my favourite drones I've ever had. It's as simple as that. Thank you very much for watching this video. That's pretty much it. It's my ramblings about it. If you want more information about that sensor thing, there is another video on my channel where I talk about it in more depth and explain to you the difference between FOV mode and HQ mode. Please go check that out. Again, as I've said, there are some links in the description of this video to the products you see here. So if you would like to support the channel, please do go purchase via those links. You can also subscribe to the channel. There is a button down here somewhere in the bottom right hand corner. I hope I'm pointing at the right side. If you click that, you will get updates of any future videos I do in the future. That's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching, and I will do another one again soon.